Well said, Bo. Adam, what are you hearing about the expectations for Bo Nix heading into year two?
I think they're expecting big things from Bo Nix. They've added Evan Ingram at tight end. They've added R.J. Harvey at running back. They've added some key parts to an offense that has been stabilized with the presence of Sean Payton. And the Broncos feel like they have the quarterback they need to rise now to the next level. Big year ahead for Bo Nix.
All right, let's go to New England, where...
Let's go to New England. Let's not go to New England. Let's stick with Denver and talk about Bo Nix and the Denver Broncos. I'm watching something like this, and a part of me then feels envious of the format and the personality that the Stephen A. Smiths have created, the Nick Wrights have created, where they feel empowered to just really just say whatever they want and not feel that there's any repercussions, whether it's right or wrong. And the way how my approach has always been is like, I try to be as grounded as I possibly can, even if I'm giving a lukewarm take. Like, my approach is not this, like, I'm not here to give like big, bold, extreme, grand takes. That's just not who I am as a person. I'm entertained by the Stephen A's and the Nick Wrights, but it's just not, how I go about it. But then when I see something like these conversations surrounding Bo Nix, I find myself thinking to myself, man, I wish sometimes that I could be that person. Because if I was, I'd say things like, Bo Nix this coming season is going to be a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. Bo Nix for the second half of last season was one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. Bo Nix was the first Bronco rookie quarterback to start a playoff game. Bo Nix led the Broncos to a playoff game for the first time in a decade. Bo Nix is going to have more success than LA and Peyton Manning. Bo Nix is going to lead the Denver Broncos to a Super Bowl. Bo Nix is going to be an MVP candidate this seat. Like, I would just go on and on and on. Bo Nix is going to have more success with Sean Payton than Drew Brees. And it's just like I would just keep going down the list of all these big, bold, extreme, intense, grand takes. And the reality is that since I told you my mind doesn't work that way, it's like I can't say that. But what I can say is that I think Bo Nix and Sean Payton and this Denver Broncos team, some of the choices that they've made, both offensively and defensively, but especially defensively, if they pay off, they definitely got a couple players who are for sure by definition injury prone, which is the real thing. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about Denver Broncos and Bo Nix? What do you think the expectations are? I'm curious actually, what do you feel as though, as the people who are watching this, who are actually hanging out in Denver and locked into the local media and the conversations that are happening around there, I am curious, what are like the actual conversations happening in Denver and what's the actual belief? Is it, just, hey, let's kind of keep building momentum? Is it AFC Championship game? Do you think there's Super Bowl potential? What do you think is realistic? What are like the realistic conversations around Bo in terms of, top 10 quarterback, top 5, like I really don't have a decent frame of reference. So definitely please let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions, let's get in some fights, but ultimately let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here and absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all generally feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be a part of. I think we're on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. And that if they can stay healthy, this already great defense can take like a true step forward, a true step forward. And this rookie quarterback who literally got better week after week after week, where Sean Payton said, I'm just going to give you everything. I'm overloading your plate and I'm just going to see what you can and can't eat, and we're going to go from there. And Bo Nix came out on the other side of it as like a true starting quarterback, just to see the confidence of Bo operate. I just rewatched the playoff game with the Denver Broncos, versus the Bills. And I saw a seasoned veteran, a quarterback that was clearly, a team that was clearly outmatched. The Buffalo Bills were a better team, no question about it. Josh Allen right now is clearly a better quarterback, no question about it. That makes sense. That's understandable. But I saw a quarterback who was 100% comfortable and unshakable. He was to get crushed there, but then just lays on a perfect throw, I mean, like, he was so fearless, and he now some has not only what should be a big step forward defensively, but then legitimate support offensively. Unmoved by that moment, no doubt about it. In his first ever playoff game on the road against a team and a quarterback, that Bo Nix is not dumb. He's not delusional. He knows, oh, this is Josh Allen, the Buffalo Bills, and I'm on the road. Like, this is not going to be easy. We're not going to stun the Buffalo Bills. If we win this game, is because our defense either just went after it like insane animals, or I'm playing out of my absolute mind and the score is like 45-42, like, because it's not like Josh Allen's just not going to be good. Like, he's not dumb. Bo Nix is smart. Okay, so is Sean Payton. And so when you see the composure that Bo had in this very game, and first of all, it's kind of perfect that I showed this highlight, because I'm pretty sure this was that touchdown pass where he's about, his O-line gets beat, and he's about. I'm not telling you that this offense is going to like light the league on fire, and therefore now Bo Nix will be able to light the league on fire, because in order to do that, you need support, you need help. It's just the reality of the NFL. It's just the reality. But this offense is going to be even more competent, even more smoother, and should have a legitimate run game that you can rely on. I have to imagine that it was so frustrating for Sean Payne just to not know, man, I don't know if I'm going to get 8 yards here or if I'm going to get -2 yards. Like, there was no confidence in that run game, clearly. And Bo Nix had no confidence in that run game, as by virtue, you could see what he was looking to do with his legs. He never had the feeling of like, I could just throw the ball away and I can just live for the next down. He like never had that feeling. It was never like, it's okay, it'll be 2nd and 10. We're good. It was always like, oh gosh, I got to get positive yards any way I can, man. Any way I can. And I think you're going to see such a smoother offense. Now, I think because Bo Nix is going to be even more comfortable in a weird way, we're going to see a lot more greatness out of Bo, but it does open up the door then for some other mistakes where he's going to fill his cup up a little bit too full, which is totally fine. We've seen Josh Allen do it. We've seen Lamar. We've seen Mahomes. We've seen them all do it. And to me, that will probably be part of the process this season, especially, is trying to figure out, okay, I don't have to be Superman for this team right now. We have a consistent run game. I have some weapons to work with. Our defense is great. So now, how do I figure out when I need to just really go for it and when I need to pull back? Because last year it was kind of go for it any chance you can, because like, we need it. If you don't, it's just like, probably not going to work out in our favor. This year is going to be more like, all right, we have balance now. We have true balance. Now we got to figure out how we push and pull with you, right? And I'm just so excited about that, and the fact that he's now had to go up against great defenses like from the Chargers and the Chiefs. And quite frankly, even though that Ravens defense wasn't as great as it has been in the past, clearly with Harbaugh and the Ravens, like, clearly veterans, high-level coaching, even if it wasn't quite what we know it to like what it had been in the past, he's still gone up now against just high-level coaching, defenses and just high-level defensive players in their prime who are like, they're just born and bred to just get after young quarterbacks. And he survived them, right? He did. I'm not saying that it was always perfect. Not saying that it was always pretty, but he came out on the other side. And that's great. That will go an incredibly long way to build off of that momentum and foundation this season. It gives just endless tape for Sean Payton to go over, and for Bo to go over, for that matter, to be like, look at this, man. Look what the Kansas City Chiefs did. Like, this is one of the most disciplined, high-level coaching, defenses you're ever going to face throughout your entire career. Let's look at this game. And you were on the road in like your 6 game, whatever game it was. Like, you're right there. Like, just that alone is worth its weight of gold. I mean, it really is. It really is. Caleb Williams didn't have that. Jane Daniels didn't have that. So those things can go a long way. And so there's just ample opportunity for this Broncos team to kind of really build off of and evolve. And they're having a quiet camp in the best possible way. In terms of look at all around the NFL of all these random issues that we've seen arise, whether going back from last year to this year, even stuff that's going on with Caleb and the Chicago Bears, which I don't even hate. I'm okay with it, but it's still a thing. Contract disputes with Terry McLaurin and the Washington Commanders. Just pick whoever you want to reference for the Cincinnati Bengals, the Dallas Cowboys, like noisy, weird, bizarre camps. And the teams that are the most successful and typically the smoothest, they don't have to worry about any of that stuff. They just take care of it. And that's really largely how the Broncos have been operating. Stafford dealing with back issues. I mean, you really do see team after team after team just kind of going through it. And you just don't really hear that, right, with the Broncos. And you have this continuity and you have this clarity now. You have this team that's really believing in any of the news that is coming out, like Sutton and stuff. It's just like positive success. Everyone's happy, smiles all around. I mean, even something like this Broncos Cab Notebook from Sports Illustrated, Day 3. RJ Harvey shines with the pads on. Not going to act like that's the biggest deal, right? It's Day 3. Literally, they're even like emphasizing had the pads on, right? Like in a lot of ways, it means nothing. But at the same time, when you're hearing about a lot of struggles all around the league, and like I said, having issues with players off the field, on the field, like it's been a pretty steady diet of more optimistic and positive. Like the camp is starting off how you would want it to. And yeah, I don't know. And what I also really like about what the Broncos are doing too is they're obviously confident. They're obviously comfortable. But they're not out there writing all these checks. Like I said, like you like even Penn said something that, and I'm a believer in Michael Penn, but he said something like, "Oh, we're good enough to win the Super Bowl," or like we're about to show out right now. And I'm just thinking to myself like, "Oh man, why are you saying that? I get you're confident, you're excited. I get it, and I'm happy you feel that way and you believe it, right? Like it can go a long way, but like I don't know, man. Like, well, come on." And then again, the Dallas Cowboys, same thing. Be like, we got what it takes to win the Super Bowl. And it's like, yeah. I get it. You guys are the Super Bowl winners, summer 2025. Like, yeah, let's do it. Hags, have a great summer. Sign my yearbook. And yet it's just all about the business. Even when Bonks gave his interview, like it was just a focus, just kind of like, I don't even feel like giving an interview right now. I don't feel like talking. I just want to kind of do the work. I just want to get in, get out, do what I got to do. Just let's just keep it about that. And I love that. So I could not be any more optimistic for this team, honestly, and for Bo Nix for that matter. And I do believe that they have incredibly high expectations. And there is a lot at stake, ironically, because things these days in the NFL really do happen fast. And if you can build off of the success of last season, get to the playoffs, win a playoff game, or to, right, like, again, by definition, you're in the conference championship game. You go from being irrelevant to literally like as relevant as it comes, right? Like you're literally right there. It's just like here we are competing to win a Super Bowl, right? Like it's just right there. And considering you have the Kansas City Chiefs in your division, if you beat them, if you become an actual threat to win the division, it's like you plant your flag, you stamp your passport. You are saying we are here. We are a team. You will not overlook us. Like this is real. And it's just like when you prove your worth, Denver, not only with the coaching and the quarterback, but then also just being the good fortune that it's your city's Denver. Like it's a great place to be. You're going to acquire a ton of talent. You're going to have some players who see what you're building and they're going to want to go there, or they're already on the team and they're not going to, back you in a corner and demand more money, or like I could take a little bit more money and I'm going to go to Carolina or something. It's like, uh, I don't know, man. This feels pretty good. Like, we were in the AFC Championship game last year, or we were just, we were a field goal away from getting to the AFC Championship game. You know? Like, you're just like, I don't know, man. Like, I want to stick around and, I don't need to go to Carolina. I'm happy here. I'll take a few million less. It's all good. I already get 100 million. What's the difference between 97 and 100 million? Like little things like that start to add up. That's what winning does. That's what living in a great city does. That's what having a great coach, quarterback, defense, you know, like when you check all those boxes, it's like, all right, I'm happy here. Let's just do it. And like I said, you attract the free agents, you have the people who are kind of like, yo, I like what's going on in Denver, like give me a call. So you can lose some of that momentum if you don't come back with a really strong year in year two. But if you do, I think it becomes greater than the sum of its parts, right? I think it really ends up being a lot more. I think it ends up being, instead of 1 plus 1 equals 2, it ends up being like 1 plus 1 equals 10, because there's this sense of momentum building and we're getting better and better and better and better. And it's like we are on the incline right now. Whereas like if you don't recapture that momentum, it's still there. You can still get there and still have a lot of success, but it's just, you know, just look at what the 49ers kind of have to do. They have to really reemerge themselves as a reason why, they're considered a great franchise, right? Even though they had been for years, they have a bad year, they get injured and all that. And it's just kind of like whatever. And they just kind of get cast to the side. In a lot of ways, it's kind of what happened with the Broncos, but just in the reverse, where now it's like bad, 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 now good. And, it's a double bounce on a trampoline, man. So I think there's actually more at stake here than even I originally put out there, just because when you have a young quarterback, especially, this is still part of in a lot of ways, Bix, this in year two is still a lot of ways like his first impression, because it's kind of just like if he now plays awesome in year two after a really great year one, there's no like explaining it away, right? If he plays great and is like truly like where you're like, oh, yeah. Again, all it does have to just be like top 10. Like you are legitimately like, oh, Bo Nix, of course, is top 10. No one really explains that away, because they go, look how great he was in year one, and now look how great he was in year two. Whereas if he was great in year one, okay, pretty good, decent, in year two, kind of like a CJ Stroud year where you're like, yeah, no, that wasn't bad. That was good. He dealt with a lot of stuff, but did pretty good, and then is kind of great in year three. Like people are still kind of like, well, let's see him do it again now. I mean, he was good and then not so good and then good. Let's see what happens in year four. Then we'll figure it out. And it's just like, if you have back-to-back great years in a lot of ways, people are like, you're a great quarterback, and then and then everyone's all in on like, all right, let's start this party. Let's go, let's go, let's go. What do we need? What do we got? What do we have to do to support Bo? What do we got to do? What's the answer here? And it just, like I said, that momentum to me becomes so much more of an avalanche. So I like when there's stakes involved. Those are just my thoughts. They have to really reemerge themselves as a reason why, they're considered a great franchise, right? Even though they had been for years, they have a bad year, they get injured and all that, and it's just kind of like whatever, and they just kind of get cast to the side. In a lot of ways, it's kind of what happened with the Broncos, but just in the reverse, where now it's like bad, 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 now good. And, it's a double bounce on a trampoline, man. So I think there's actually more at stake here than even I originally put out there, just because when you have a young quarterback, especially, this is still part of in a lot of ways, Bix, this in year two is still a lot of ways like his first impression, because it's kind of just like if he now plays awesome in year two after a really great year one, there's no like explaining it away, right? If he plays great and is like truly like where you're like, oh, yeah. Again, all it does have to just be like top 10. Like you are legitimately like, oh, Bo Nix, of course, is top 10. No one really explains that away, because they go, look how great he was in year one, and now look how great he was in year two. Whereas if he was great in year one, okay, pretty good, decent, in year two. Kind of like a CJ Stroud year where you're like, Yeah, no, that wasn't bad. That was good. He dealt with a lot of stuff, but did pretty good. And then is kind of great in year 3. Like, people are still kind of like, well, let's see him do it again now. I mean, he was good, and then not so good, and then good. Let's see what happens in year 4. Then we'll figure it out. And it's just like, if you have back-to-back great years, in a lot of ways, people are like, you're a great quarterback. And then and then everyone's all in on like, all right, let's start this party. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. What do we need? What do we got? What do we have to do to support Bo? What do we got to do? What's the answer here? And it just, like I said, that momentum to me becomes so much more of an avalanche. So I like when there's stakes involved. Those are just my thoughts.